know if it came on TV. I think it did, because every now and then they put stuff on. They said that they captured one of these spaceships. They didn't say anything about the people, they just talked about the vessel. And they said this stuff, the material it's made out of, is nothing that we even have in this whole, on Earth. And they said that they don't even know what kind of fuel it is. They can't even operate it because they don't run on nothing that's made on Earth. Well, it shouldn't. You see, this is high technology. You see, in Kemet, what you see when the person grows up, you see the hieroglyphics. One person, and you see the gods in the hieroglyphics. That mythology, the common folk worship that just like we worship Jesus and all of this today, and worship the story behind it. And the story had a little bit of principle. It had principles. But the high priest understanding that story are those gods representing certain principles, and those principles represent certain scientific elements. And these are the working tools of the ancient Egyptian mystery system. They understood this. There's a part in the mystery system called the Black Rite. And the Black Rite is a high part of the mystery system. That they go into the Black Rite, and there's something called God Osiris, God of the cold black, or Osar, God of the perfect black. And this perfect black in Sirius, in the Sirius mystery, Temple Sirius mystery, is representative of that black darkness of the star that you can't see. And this is a high initiate degrees. And you go into this whole thing. But they understood that all of this represented scientific principle. Because they knew in Kemet that you couldn't separate knowledge or science and learning and all of this from God. It all was one. That's the thing in Freemasonry. What is God? God is limb, width, depth, and breadth. What is geometry? Limb, width, depth, and breadth. That's why you see the G in there for geometry, but it represents God. Now we understand that God is a German deity, a German deity that doesn't have anything to do with the linguistics as far as God in the ancient world. That word God, that's a German deity with blue hair and blonde eyes. But they understood that. So when the Europeans have that, when the European Masons have that ring, that have that G in it. It has the square and the compass and has a G in it. That G represents geometry. And geometry is God, for lack of a better word, is the creator. Because he who knows the earth and how the earth works is God, you see. So there is something valid about when you have this big argument, when the 5% nation, these brothers come around and say the black man is God. Well, they are right in a way. They are right. They understand that the creation, or the creator, I can't create the world, but if I understand the sciences, I can manifest into God form. So all of this, every single thing they did had its origin in the religion. Everything. And they didn't separate the two. They didn't separate the two. But if you're working around, if your religion starts off with saying that you shouldn't bite from the tree of knowledge because you would have the knowledge of God, and we understand why they separate the two now. And they separate the two now. But this is the hieroglyphic or the meta-nature symbol for Sirius. So, if you ever learn hieroglyphics, there's some books you can get. There's a book by called Egyptian Language, a little small book by Budge, Budge, called Egyptian Language, and it's about $5, and you can start off the introductory level of that. Then there's some other books out. There's a book by Alan H. Gardner called Egyptian Grammar, which is one of the best books you can buy. There's another book I have, but it's I don't think it's in print. But another book, the best book you can buy is by Alan H. Gardner. If you could ever learn hieroglyphics and could ever read papyrus or ever read the Book of the Dead or ever read anything, you could probably find this symbol that represents Sothis or Sirius. Okay, this is another one of those death chambers where I don't think they put it up here, but there was a hieroglyph of Sirius, and this is Isis, and I think this is Orion, and there's different clusters of star gods all over. Let's take that out of the story now. These are representations even in Europe, Babylon, Mesopotamia, where you have this so-called wheel all over ancient form, all over ancient history. And you know the thing Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the sky. This is what they're talking about. That wheel. And also they're talking about, because we understand that Napoleon saw wheels, Tutmosis III saw wheels, there's been wheels in South Africa, there's been wheels in Russia, and Russia is real big with UFO sightings. And always where there's some people that's the most powerful people on earth, either United States and Russia, these are the powerfulest nations on earth. And both of these places, they got books out on UFO abductions in Russia and also in America, and also in South Africa. There was one woman that said on a PBS special, she said that she saw UFOs, and the UFOs, they said, well, what did it look like? She said, well, it didn't look like it was made out of anything that we ride around in. She said, but I know what I did see. I saw hieroglyphics. They said, well, you know what hieroglyphics is? She said, I know what hieroglyphics look like. I know food. I saw hieroglyphics, you see. And it got me to thinking, right before Christmas, I went home and I was like, I've been studying this stuff for the last 4 years. And man, it seemed to me I just can't put it together on how this stuff is going to work. How are we going to really get out of this stuff? And the reason why is because I was looking at it on an earthly form, and I was looking at it based upon the society that we live in. Now, this doesn't mean, this doesn't mean that you don't supposed to struggle. Because we understand that we must prepare for the coming of whatever. And this doesn't mean that. This doesn't mean, well, hell, if some UFOs coming back, I might as well go and get my BMW and, just call it a lie. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that the ones who are ready will be prepared. Now, we got 3 kinds of groupings, or whatever. Well, let's see. We have the dead people, which our brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters in the projects and all around the streets. They are on a dead level. I don't take the excuse that the brothers and sisters is so-called educated, and the brothers and sisters is walking around here, riding around having a ball at a dead level. They're not at a dead level because they have the access to learn this same stuff. They are ignorant.